see me? There we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason. As you can see, I've got a 4L80 on my teardown bench here. And this one is the four-wheel drive variety. Came out of a 2007 Silverado Classic, or excuse me, Sierra Classic. And as you can see here, the bell housing on this one is smoked. I do have the pieces, and I could attempt to weld it back together, but honestly, I've got plenty of 4L80s around here between the ones on the shelf and the ones in trucks that I think a better use for this one is going to be to take the good parts out of it and put them into one of the CORES I have on the shelf. Like I said, this one's out of a 2007 Sierra Classic that was crashed, and from looking at it, this thing's obviously been painted, which leads me to believe that it is a rebuilt unit, especially also because it's got a not factory torque converter in it. And when I pulled the pan off, the pan looks like there is very little run time on this transmission. Either it was very recently serviced, which is a good sign, or it was very recently rebuilt, which is also a good sign. So I'm pretty confident that all the parts and pieces, the clutches, everything inside of this thing are in good shape. And I want to pull them out and put them into a core transmission here. I'm basically turning two cores into one good transmission. So I don't really think I'm the person to give you a step-by-step how-to on this, but I will bring you along for the journey. And first step here is getting this thing totally taken apart. I'm gonna pull the torque converter out of it, pull the pan off, pull the valve body, remove my cooler line fittings. The rear in particular holds in the center support, so we got to get that out in order for the center support to be able to come out. And like I said, hopefully find a whole bunch of very low mileage, low use parts inside of it, and we can use those in the other transmission that I want to get put together. So I'm going to get right to it. You can tell also we've got a nice, freshly painted, nice new pump here, so also a good sign. Get my O-ring off the input shaft there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. You guys wanna listen to some music while I do this? I'll give you some music while I do this. All right, team, well, I've encountered something I haven't come across before. I'm gonna have to do some research and see what the reason for this is, why this was done. But I've got, so the normal feed tube to the rear bushing, that's in all of these, that's factory standard default. But this tube here comes out of the side of the valve body, comes around, and then feeds in over here. And it's got a nice little bracket that holds it. I have not seen that before. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out, like, is this something done from the factory? in the 07 Classic and later 4L80s, or is this something somebody has done aftermarket? I've not seen that before. I'm gonna have to do some research and see if I can find out what that's for. Well, everybody, she's all apart. And as I suspected, it really doesn't look like there's a lot of runtime on this thing. The bands still look pretty much new. Most of the bushings still look pretty much new. I didn't take the clutch packs apart yet, but I'm gonna pop those apart real quick just to give them a peek. But I'm fairly confident they're gonna look like new also. So that's it for now. I gotta get the other transmission with the case that I wanna use taken apart. And for those of you that are really paying attention, this might give you a hint of what's to come. But I've got this core 4L80. I'm gonna take this one apart and then we'll see what I find inside of it. I'm only calling it a core because it came from the junkyard and I have no idea of the condition of the vehicle that it came out of, other than it was in the junkyard. So I'm gonna get that one apart, and then I'm gonna take the best pieces from both to build another two-wheel drive 4L80. This case will go in the scrap. Any parts between the two of them that are not good will go in the scrap. From what I can see in this one, it doesn't look like they've done like a dual feed modification or anything like that. It looks like a completely stock rebuild, aside from that, this pipe in the valve body, which I haven't found an explanation or a reason for yet. I'll have to keep digging through the internet. If you know what that's for, drop it down in the comments and let me know. But yeah, I think next step is just gonna be get the two-wheel drive one on the bench, get it taken apart, and start figuring out which pieces are the best from the two and put that one back together. All right, everybody, well, I figured this is a good time for an update. I'm working my way through. This is the good case from the core, and I am reusing some parts of that one. This is going to be a two-wheel drive transmission. So I'm reusing the output shaft, the output planetaries, basically those good parts. And everything in this one looks really good. The roller clutches look good, the bushings look good, and even the planetary gears all look good. So I don't see or feel any need to replace any of those parts. I did put a new output shaft seal. I did put a new output shaft bushing, both bushings. What else did I do? Oh, and I am going to put a new drive shaft seal on the output tail housing, wherever it is, when I'm ready to put that back together. But for the most part, I'm just going to put this thing back together, and I'm going to pick the best part from either transmission. So when I get to a clutch pack, I'm going to open them both up, see which one had the better clutches in it, use those. When I get to a band, I'm going to compare the two bands, see which one looks better, use that. And I'm just going to go through that and put this thing all the way back together. I am going to make a couple little changes. I want to change I got to pull a seal off of the center support so it will dual feed, and a few other little odds and ends. I'll try to bring you back and show you that stuff. I've done videos on this before. There's lots of other people that have done videos on that before. So I'm going to try to keep this as a relatively short video and try not to get too carried away in the details. But we'll see how the mood strikes me when I get to that point. Well guys, it's now later in the evening. I finished getting the power flow assembly put in, and didn't realize the battery died, so sorry you missed some of that. But I'll tell you, the only thing I did was exactly what I said. I picked out the best parts between the two transmissions. I put those in. All the stuff that wasn't the best parts is in this box. And a lot of that is still usable parts. It's just between the two, I put the better parts in here. The other thing that I did is I did what's called a dual feed mod. And I actually followed the Driveway Engineer's video guide on that. So I'll put a link to his video right up here. So you can do that same modification as well if you want. Now, I'm getting into the valve body portion of this. And first thing I'm gonna do is get the manual shift rod put back in, the park pawl, all of that stuff. I'll get that assembly back in the case. And then I'm gonna get my apply piston back installed here. We'll get the one here in the rear back installed. We'll get our separator plate. I'm pretty confident I'm gonna be using the stock separator plate, but I'm gonna drill some of the holes out a little bit just to improve my fluid flow, especially in the direct clutch where you do your dual feed modification. We're now filling up twice the piston area, and if I don't increase my hole in the separator plate, I'll actually have a slower application instead of faster and stronger, which is what I want. So I'm just gonna get going on it. When I start changing things and doing modifications, I'll bring you back and show you. Well, everybody, it's midnight and the transmission is all back together. I've got it all sealed up, buttoned up, hanging on the stand. I'm gonna leave it for tonight. I did some fiddling around and looking as I was putting the valve body back together, and whoever rebuilt this thing before, like, they definitely made some changes inside. I don't really know what they all do, so I didn't want to mess with too much stuff or try to explain what the stuff does, because I don't know what it does. They had some holes in the separator plate blocked off. You saw they had that tube external of the valve body bringing fluid from one side over to the other. I assume that's what it's there for anyway. So I really don't know, but I guess we'll find out. Like I said before, I really assume this thing was running and driving until the truck crashed. So I'm going to assume, in a good case, with all the good parts, it'll run and drive again the way I want it to. And with the dual feed mod, it should hold up to whatever I throw at it and hopefully be a good transmission. We won't know for a while though. So that's it on this one. It's gonna hang out here until tomorrow, and then probably tomorrow I'll get it down, take it over. I've got a spot on the shelf for it over there, and it'll hang out until I need it. So that's it on this one, guys. Not super technical, not really a how-to, but just here's what I'm up to.